Everyone wants success. But what if I told you the very thing you're chasing could destroy you? What if I told you that behind every glamorous picture, behind every million-dollar smile, there's a dark truth that nobody wants to admit? Today, I'll reveal what success really costs and why most people aren't ready to pay the price. People love success stories. They watch videos of billionaires, athletes, actors, entrepreneurs, and imagine how amazing it must be to live that kind of life. Private jets, mansions, admiration, power. On the surface, it looks like heaven. But the reality? The reality is much darker than you think. Success is not free. It demands a price so high that many who achieve it secretly regret ever chasing it. They can't tell you this publicly, of course. They can't break the illusion, because the illusion is what made them rich in the first place. But if you look closely, if you study their lives, you start to see the cracks, the broken marriages, the addictions, the loneliness, the crushing pressure to stay on top. Have you ever wondered why so many celebrities spiral into depression? Why some of the most successful entrepreneurs admit to feeling empty even after reaching everything they ever dreamed of? Why countless athletes, after retiring, confess that they don't even know who they are without the game? Because success is not what it seems, and today I'm going to expose its dark truth. Let's start with the first one: sacrifice. They tell you that to be successful, you need discipline, you need consistency, you need to grind harder than everyone else. And that's true. But what they don't tell you is what exactly you'll have to sacrifice. It's not just parties, it's not just Netflix, it's not just sleeping in. It's relationships, it's time with your family, it's your health, it's years of your life that you'll never get back. Most billionaires didn't get rich by being balanced. They worked 16-hour days, 7 days a week for years. They missed birthdays, weddings, even funerals. Do you think they wanted that? No, but success demands it. And here's the dark part. Once you're successful, people only see the glory. They clap for your achievements. But nobody sees the quiet nights when you cried yourself to sleep from exhaustion. Nobody sees the friendships that fell apart because you were never around. Nobody sees the silent battles you fought with stress, anxiety, or loneliness. That's just the first layer of the dark truth. The second one? The emptiness that follows. Most people think if I could just have $1 million, I'd be happy forever. But talk to the people who actually achieved it, and you'll hear a different story. They'll tell you that after the initial excitement, after the thrill of buying the car, the house, the watch, it all fades, and they realize something terrifying. Money can buy pleasure, but it can't buy meaning. That's why so many rich people keep chasing more and more, not because they need it, but because they're terrified of stopping. If they stop, they'll be forced to face the emptiness inside. Think about it. Why do so many celebrities overdose? Why do world-famous musicians, adored by millions, confess to feeling lonely? Why do entrepreneurs who made it sometimes take their own lives? It's not because they didn't succeed. It's because success didn't give them what they thought it would. And that's exactly what nobody tells you. The motivational videos say, work hard, stay disciplined, and success will solve your problems. But here's the dark truth. Success doesn't solve your problems. It magnifies them. If you're insecure, success will make you more insecure. If you're lonely, success will make you feel even lonelier. If you're addicted, success will give you more money to feed that addiction. Success doesn't change who you are. It just reveals it. And that's only the beginning. In the next part, I'll show you how success changes the way people treat you and why being admired can become the most isolating prison in the world. So, we've already seen how success demands sacrifice, your time, your relationships, even your health. But here's something even darker. Success doesn't just change you, it changes the way people see you. And that's when the real isolation begins. When you start winning, when you start making money, when you start rising above the crowd, something shifts. Suddenly, people don't see you anymore. They see what you represent. They see your wealth, your influence, your status. And instead of friends, you start attracting fans. Instead of genuine love, you attract attention. At first, it feels good. People admire you, they want to be around you, they laugh at your jokes, they compliment you all the time. But here's the truth. Most of them don't actually care about you. They care about what you can give them. Opportunities, status, proximity to power. The higher you rise, the harder it becomes to know who's real and who's fake, who actually loves you and who's just pretending. And that's why so many successful people say they feel lonelier at the top than they ever did at the bottom. Have you noticed how often celebrities talk about trust issues? How many of them say they don't even know who their real friends are anymore? That's not paranoia. That's the reality of success. Think about it. Imagine you suddenly became rich overnight. Your phone would blow up with messages from people you haven't heard from in years. Everyone would want a piece of your time. Some would ask for money, some would ask for opportunities, and some would just want to be near you so they can post about it on social media. And deep down, you'd start to wonder, do these people really like me, or do they just like what I can give them? That constant doubt slowly eats you alive. You can be surrounded by hundreds of people and yet feel completely alone. But it doesn't stop there. The admiration you once craved can turn into a prison. When you're successful, people put you on a pedestal. They expect you to always be strong, always be confident, always be perfect. You're not allowed to have bad days. You're not allowed to show weakness. Because the moment you do, people start whispering, "Oh, maybe he's not as great as we thought." That pressure is suffocating. Imagine living your entire life with the weight of other people's expectations pressing down on you every single day. One mistake, one slip, one wrong word, and the same people who cheered for you will turn on you instantly. We see this all the time in cancel culture. A celebrity makes a mistake, and overnight they go from being loved to hated. That's the fragility of fame. It's not real love, it's conditional, it's shallow, and it can vanish at any moment. And here's another dark truth. The higher you climb, the more enemies you make. When you're average, nobody cares about you. But when you succeed, you threaten people. You become competition. You trigger jealousy, resentment, even hatred. People you've never met will start rooting for your downfall. Entire communities online will dedicate themselves to mocking you, tearing you apart, waiting for you to fail. Success paints a target on your back. And this constant pressure of being admired, envied, hated, and doubted at all once slowly breaks people. That's why so many stars turn to substances, why so many entrepreneurs burn out, why so many leaders end up isolated and depressed. The human mind wasn't designed to carry that kind of burden. Now let's take it one step deeper, because there's a final irony in all of this. Once you succeed, you can never go back. You can't just live a normal life anymore. You can't walk into a coffee shop without being recognized. You can't post online without being analyzed. You can't even make new friends without wondering if they like you or your money. The very success you once dreamed of becomes the cage that traps you. And the scariest part? Most people will never understand your pain. They'll just say, "Oh, poor you crying in your mansion. I'd love to have your problems." But here's the truth. Loneliness hurts just as much in a mansion as it does in a tiny apartment. Sometimes even more. So far, we've seen how success costs your time, your health, your relationships, and how it isolates you from the people around you. But in the next part, we'll uncover something even more shocking: how success can make you lose yourself until you don't even recognize the person staring back in the mirror.
So far, we've talked about the sacrifices success demands and how it isolates you from the people around you. But here's the darkest truth of all. Success can make you lose yourself. When you start chasing big goals, when you're working day and night, you begin to compromise. At first, it's small things. Maybe you change the way you dress. Maybe you change the way you talk just to fit into certain rooms. Maybe you even hide parts of your personality because you don't want to be judged. But little by little, those compromises add up until one day you wake up and you're no longer the person you used to be. Think about the people who make it in Hollywood, in politics, or in business. They often look nothing like the version of themselves that started the journey. The smile is the same, the face is the same, but behind the eyes, something is gone. Why? Because success demands that you become a brand. You're no longer just a person, you're a product. And products have to be polished, perfect, marketable. That means you can't always say what you really think. You can't always do what you really want. You can't always live the way you really feel. You become trapped inside a version of yourself that exists to please others. Here's the irony. People chase success because they want freedom, financial freedom, freedom of choice, freedom to live life on their own terms. But once you actually get it, you realize you've traded one prison for another. Now your freedom is limited by expectations. You can't speak freely because the world is watching. You can't fail privately because every mistake is magnified. You can't even experiment with who you are because your identity has to remain consistent. That's why so many successful people talk about feeling like actors in their own lives. They're playing a role day after day until they don't even know who the real version of themselves is anymore. Let me ask you something. What's the point of achieving your dreams if in the process you lose yourself? Because here's what happens. When your identity is tied to your success, the moment that success disappears, so does your sense of self. Athletes who retire often fall into depression because they no longer know who they are without the game. Business leaders who sell their companies struggle with emptiness because they don't know who they are without the title. Celebrities who fade from the spotlight feel invisible because they don't know who they are without the fame. Success becomes a mask, and when the mask comes off, many people realize they don't even recognize the face underneath. But here's where it gets even darker. The more successful you become, the harder it is to admit this truth. Why? Because people expect you to be happy. You've made it. You've achieved what everyone else is dreaming of. So how could you possibly complain? If you admit you're lost, people call you ungrateful. If you say you're unhappy, they roll their eyes and say, I wish I had your problems. So instead, you keep smiling, keep posting, keep pretending everything is perfect, while on the inside, you feel emptier than ever. This is why so many stars spiral into self-destruction. They can't tell anyone how they really feel. They can't show weakness. They can't stop playing the role. So they numb the pain with substances, with distractions, with anything that keeps them from facing the truth. And here's the truth. The more you try to become somebody, the more you risk becoming nobody. You're so busy building an image, building a reputation, building success that you forget to build yourself. And one day, when the noise fades, you're left with silence. And in that silence, you realize you don't know who you are anymore. So we've seen how success demands sacrifice, how it isolates you from others, and how it can strip away your very identity. But in the next part, we'll explore the final and most chilling cost of all, how success can destroy your peace, leaving you trapped in a life that looks perfect on the outside, but feels like a nightmare on the inside.
We've seen how success demands sacrifice, how it isolates you, and how it strips away your identity. But there's one final cost of success that no one talks about, and it's the most devastating of all: peace. When you finally achieve what you've been chasing, you think you'll feel calm. You think the stress will go away. You think the voice in your head will finally shut up. But in reality, success only makes that voice louder. At first, it's the pressure to maintain your success. The higher you climb, the further you have to fall. Every mistake feels bigger. Every risk feels scarier. Every choice feels heavier. Suddenly, you're not chasing dreams anymore. you're running from nightmares. Because success doesn't just give you more, it takes away the one thing money can't buy: peace of mind. Think about it. Before success, you had nothing to lose. You could take risks, experiment, fail, and get back up again. But after success, everything is at stake. Your reputation, your career, your image, your entire identity. This is why so many successful people live in constant fear. Fear of losing what they've built, fear of being forgotten, fear of being exposed, fear of slipping back into the life they worked so hard to escape. And here's the cruel part. The more successful you become, the more fragile your peace becomes. It's like building a glass castle. From the outside, it looks beautiful, untouchable, even perfect. But on the inside, you know how easily it could all shatter. One scandal, one mistake, one wrong move, and everything comes crashing down. That's why success feels less like freedom and more like a prison. You may have the money, the fame, the recognition, but you can never truly relax, because the moment you do, the castle you built begins to crack. And this is the paradox no one warns you about. The more successful you become, the more you realize that true success isn't about what you gain, it's about what you don't lose. Your relationships, your identity, your peace. Without those, success is just a hollow shell. It looks impressive from the outside, but inside, it's empty. So here's the question I'll leave you with. Is it really worth it? Is the money worth losing your friends? Is the fame worth losing your identity? Is the recognition worth losing your peace? Because the truth is, the world will celebrate your success, but you're the one who has to live with the cost. And maybe that's the real secret. Maybe the goal isn't to chase success at all. Maybe the goal is to build a life that feels like success, even if it doesn't look like it to anyone else. Because at the end of the day, what's the point of having the world at your feet if you can't even sleep at night?